Ghosties, welcome to a new video and one that I think you're going to really enjoy. So tonight we're going to be talking about a very interesting mass alien abduction case or encounter, and this is something that I don't come across often. Usually when you hear about alien abductions, it's with one individual, but this happened to a group of individuals who were at a UFO convention. Imagine that, out of all places, they're at a UFO convention and then all get abducted. But we're gonna get into it in just a second. I'm very excited to tell you guys that this video is in collaboration with my friend Gabby here on YouTube, and her channel is called Gabulosis. She has an awesome channel where she talks about true crime, cold cases, mysteries, and well, I'm just gonna let her introduce herself.
Before I get into a little bit about myself, my channel, and what my video is going to be about in this collab, I gotta say thank you, Michael, for collabing with me. I am so excited. You are pretty much on the top of my list of people that I have wanted to collab with for so long now. If you are a subscriber of Michael's and you don't know who I am, my name is Gabby and I've been doing YouTube for about 3.5 years now. I cover an array of different topics. Since on my channel I mostly cover vintage cold cases, and I know on Michael's channel one of his favorite things to talk about is extraterrestrials. I kind of found a cold case that also incorporates that. It is the strange, and I mean very strange, disappearance of Frederick Valentic. If you have never heard of this case before, it's going to blow your mind. So if my channel sounds like something you may be interested in, and if you want to check out that video as well, Michael will have all that linked down below in his description box. I hope you guys take the time to join my little family here on YouTube, and I'm so excited to see the video that Michael has put together. So let's get into it.
Again, I want to say how excited I am to be working with you, Gabby. You guys, please go check out her channel. I'll leave the links down in the description below. You're not going to want to miss her alien abduction case. It's going to be very interesting, and she puts a lot of work and research into her videos, so you guys, go check it out. So now getting into tonight's video, like I said, it's about a mass alien abduction that happened on Coronado Island, not too far from me. I think one of the things that really drew me into this case, one, is that it's a mass alien abduction. I don't see that very often. Usually when you come across alien abductions, it's, you know, one person, maybe two, but definitely not mass abductions. Another thing that drew me in is that it is not too far from my house. Like I said, it happened on Coronado Island, which is really close to San Diego. It's about an hour and a half from me, I believe, so not very far at all. And the last thing that drew me into this case was that it was so hard to find information on it for some reason. Because in my mind, I think if a mass alien abduction happened, it would be on the news, or there'd be articles about it, or a bunch of YouTube videos, whatever. But the truth is, there isn't a lot of information. There are a couple radio interviews I found on this. There's a lady named Yvonne Smith. She was on Coronado Island when all of this happened. She wrote a book about it, and she's been on various radio stations talking about the experience and her book. But other than that, I haven't been able to find any information on this. There's, like I said, no YouTube videos, no news articles, nothing. So for people that aren't as familiar with alien abductions and alien encounters, there are 4 main kinds of alien encounters. The first 3 kind were on the scale called Hynek scale. The 4th one wasn't on the original scale, but we'll talk about it briefly anyway. The first encounter is when somebody sees a UFO. And when I say sees a UFO, I mean that it's close enough to see some of the detail of the craft, usually within less than 500 feet. Less than 500 feet? I don't know. I'm not very good with like measurements, but it's close enough to tell some of the details of the ship. It's not like some little light that you see thousands of miles away. It's close enough that you can tell that this is a UFO. The second kind is when there's some type of physical effect during a UFO encounter. And by physical effect, I mean if somebody feels nauseous, or animals are reacting, if there's some type of electromagnetic interference, you know, like static on a radio, something like that. Now, encounters of the third kind are when a being or an alien is present. You can see the creature in a field or in the UFO piloting it, whatever the case may be. If an alien is present and you can see the figure, that's a close encounter of the third kind. The 4th kind is when somebody is physically abducted and taken on board the UFO. Usually during these events, people have different types of procedures done to them. They're taken against their will, and it's a traumatic and terrifying event. Like I said, this fourth kind wasn't on the original scale, Hynek scale, but I wanted to talk about it anyway because this is an abduction case. So now that we know a little bit more about alien abductions and the types of encounters you can have, let's talk about what happened on Coronado Island. In March of 1994, there was a UFO and alien convention that was held at the Hotel del Coronado, which is on Coronado Island. So as you can imagine, a bunch of UFO and alien enthusiasts were there for the conference, and also a bunch of alien abduction victims were there as well for this conference or convention. Now, it wasn't that far into the weekend when a group of people started to notice that they weren't feeling well, which is actually very common for people that have had alien abduction experiences. A lot of times people will say they wake up the next morning and they feel almost like flu-like symptoms. They'll wake up in the morning feeling feverish or muscle aches or nauseous. Some people even say it feels like they've been hit by a truck. Now, other than just not feeling well, there was also some physical evidence left behind that suggested that something had happened. One of the ladies that claims to have been part of the mass abduction, her name was Alice. She said that she woke up the next morning on the floor, which was really weird because, she went to sleep and she was laying in bed, and when she woke up, she was on the floor. She had this sheet kind of wrapped around her neck, and she had this scoop mark on her body. It looked like a procedure had been done, something like that. Which later on she went to go have an x-ray of it done, and the x-ray showed that there was an implant in her which she had removed. Another one of the victims was named Mike, and when he woke up the next morning, he saw that there was blood on his pillow, and during further analysis they found that he had a puncture wound in his ear. Another man named Jack had memories of seeing very bright flashes of light, and probably the most chilling of all the things that they remember, it gives me goosebumps, is all of them say that they can remember, I don't know why I'm getting emotional about this. All of them, it's just, okay. For some reason, alien abduction just scares the crap out of me, so I think that's why this is making me uneasy. But the last thing that it said that they all remember is they can all remember hearing screams down the hallways of the hotel. Can you imagine being abducted over and over throughout your lifetime, never knowing when these beings are going to come, never really remembering what happens to you unless you go under hypnosis? It's terrifying to think about, and the fact that all of these people remember hearing screams in the middle of the night coming from the hallways. Now, during the convention and that weekend, nobody knew that this mass abduction happened. It wasn't until people got home and started talking about the weird experiences that they had that they started putting this all together and came to the conclusion that a mass abduction had to have happened. In total now, there's been about 6 to 12 people that have come forward after having hypnosis and have said something happened to them that weekend on Coronado Island. In fact, a lot of the people that have had hypnosis to find out what happened to them that weekend say that while they were on the ship, on the UFO, they now remember seeing other people, other alien abductees that were there during the conference. They saw them on the ship. Another weird thing to note about this weekend was that during this weekend, a UFO conference was going on and a mass alien abduction happened. Bill Clinton was also on the island. He was the president during this time, and he was there for some speech or conference. So he was there on the same island that this abduction happened. Now, do you think it's kind of weird that the same weekend that a mass alien abduction occurs, the president at that time is also on that island with a bunch of secret agents? Do you think maybe the government somehow knew that this event was going to happen, that a bunch of people were going to be abducted? Or maybe the government was behind it? Because there is a theory out there that our government is the one abducting people and doing these experiments on them. Do I think that's true? I don't know. I don't know. I don't really think our government is behind it. I don't think they're the ones abducting people, but I do think they know more about UFOs and aliens than they tell us. I think it's very likely that they knew that this event was going to happen, and that's why they had an increased military force on the island at that time. I don't know. It seems a little shady. The other shady thing about this is the lack of media out there on it. The little evidence that I have provided to you guys is all that I could find on the subject. There is one book about it. Yvonne Smith, she wrote the book. She's been on a couple different radio talk shows to talk about it, but other than that, that's it. There's no news articles, nothing. There aren't even other YouTubers that have covered the topic, which I find just really strange. Personally, I really do think something happened on that island during the UFO convention. The fact that somebody woke up with blood on their pillow, another person woke up on the floor when they had gone to bed in their bed, and that there was an implant with, I want to say it was her leg, I can't remember, but there was an implant found on her body and was later extracted from her body. It's just, it's strange. I'd like to know what you guys think. Do you think a mass alien abduction happened that weekend? Do you think that the government knew about it and that's why they were there? Do you think they were behind it? I'd like to hear your thoughts. That's all I have for this video. There wasn't a lot of detail out there. There wasn't a lot of story out there about this. Like I said, it's very strange to me that a mass amount of people were abducted and there is no news about it. But again, it's one of the things that drew me into it, is wondering why this hasn't been talked about. If you guys did enjoy this video, go ahead and give it a like, and if you're new, hit that subscribe button. I'm a paranormal investigator. I go to a bunch of different locations looking for ghosts, so if that sounds like something you would enjoy, stick around.